Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rick Hampton with my great friends Tree McDougal and Tim Turner coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's having a great week so far. We have sprung forward. That is a very exciting time. Actually, we went out and hit golf balls today here in the Detroit metro area, so I am excited and most excited to see you two guys. How's everybody?
I'm good. I was really good until I just saw you guys. You didn't tell me it was like gray shirt night or something.
Oh,
What's up?
this is my Virginia Union Crimson and Cream treat.
What you got, Tim? What's that? Ah,
America's team, Atlanta Falcons. So
I'm just gonna stay black. I'm just gonna stay black. What?
what's the humor? The humor in that? Okay.
You're doing very well, treat.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Right. That's perfect.
Hey, and we're going to get to the Baltimore Orioles outfit before we get out of here tonight. You talking about going back in the day. I think they last had that uniform 16, 17 years ago, 15,
Yeah.
16.
Yeah,
So.
it's been a while. I like it.
Hey,
You need to say it right. It's been a minute. Isn't that how we say it?
yeah, exactly. It's been a minute. But and we're going to be joined by our great friend Earl Kitchen, a quarterfinal back historian and author. Talk a little bit about the coaching news that went down this week with Eddie George leaving Tennessee State for Bowling Green. But sad news to start tonight, man. Junior Bridgman, former Milwaukee Buck, and had a 12-year career in the NBA, a really good player, but he was a good NBA player, guys, but he was a great businessman once he retired.
Yeah. That guy. I mean, he should be like the template of what you're supposed to do when you with your money, as opposed to 7 or 8 cars or whatever the deal is, and really spending it. He made it where people should look at him and say, spending your money wisely, making wise investments, finding yourself with really good people that will help you along the way.
Yeah, making generational wealth for his family for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Junior. On 450 Chili's. He did have some Wendy's burgers. He was very generous with his money. Also, he contributed some money to the Flint, Michigan high school athletic department when they were struggling to get their spring sports going. And a part owner of Valhalla Country Club, one of the great country clubs where the PGA Tour has held the PGA Championship on numerous occasions. And last year he bought into the Milwaukee Bucks.
Right.
So but Tim, you said it to begin with. He's the template for these athletes who are making this generational money. And nowadays these guys are making so much money that they have opportunities way beyond that of guys like Brisbane when he came out of the league. I'll tell you another guy that's done very well here in Detroit is the microwave, Vinny Johnson.
Yeah, you're right.
Johnson opened up a $25 million. He has a $25 million business, and they are in cooperation with we have the big 3 motor companies here, and they do business with Ford, Chrysler, and what's the other one? GM. And so Benny Johnson has done well with that. So that is very good to see. And of course, our condolences go out to the Brisbane family and for a job well done on that with Julie Brisbane. So
I was just looking at it, so some kind of medical emergency happened. Well, he was at a fundraiser. So, did you guys see that?
What's that now?
No,
That
no.
he was at a fundraising event, and there was
Is
some
that-
kind of medical emergency.
Oh goodness.
No. He was he went to the University of Louisville, and I think he was a Louisville native too. If he didn't, he made Louisville his home. He was very active there.
Mm.
And I didn't know. I'm just looking at this. He actually bought Ebony and Jet magazines.
I knew there was something another
Oh.
part of that to that. It's like he bought the archives, I think is what the deal was.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah.
So yeah. So kudos to him on that. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be joined in a couple of minutes. Actually, I see him right now. We may as well bring him in. Our great friend, Mr. Earl Kitchens, a quarterback back.
The Hall of Famer, Earl Kitchens.
Yes.
I like that, man. Yes, sir.
Oh, I like it.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, man, it's great to see you guys. Tim, Tree, Ricky. Hey, man, I haven't said it officially, but Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Back
sir.
at you.
It's good to be here for a new year.
Yes.
And Earl, we wanted to get into a couple of things for you. You can. We hadn't seen you since the BIP Awards were announced. You can tell us all about that. But one discussion I was hoping we could have a little bit tonight is what just went down in Tennessee State with Eddie George leaving the Big Blue Tigers after I think he was there for 3 or 4 seasons. I should know.
4 seasons.
4?
Mm-hmm.
Was it 4 seasons?
Yeah.
He's the new coach at Bowling Green University in the state of Ohio, where Eddie George is royalty in Ohio, Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State University. That was a big hire for Bowling Green. But, and really, guys, one of the reasons Eddie got out of there is the financial issues that Tennessee State has been going through, and we've talked about on this show, even though the state of Tennessee, as I have mentioned repeatedly, owed them
Millions of dollars.
$2.5 billion. How do you have financial issues when they owe $2.5 billion? And Earl, you have been there in the administration of HBCUs. Help us understand how that doesn't get rectified.
Well, it's pretty simple, Ricky. You know, the president and the state of Tennessee and the governor of Tennessee, obviously nobody wants to rectify the situation. The money is owed. If Tennessee State had owed the state of Tennessee that kind of money, they'd be bamming on their doors or closing them down or whatever. So it's pretty simple, but they got to want to fix the problem. And if they don't want to fix the problem, because it's their property, it's your school. This is state of Tennessee's university. So why not rectify the problem?
It sounds like they don't have the right people in powerful positions to make those choices. So, which then I would think then leads to, if they're not going to give it to them, perhaps they need to vote differently in that state.
Well, we know that ain't gonna happen. I get your point, Tree.
Yeah.
It was a staunch Republican state, but the interim president is actually a fellow North High Yankee classmate of mine. Well, actually, he was a year ahead of me. He's currently the interim there, and I love him to death, man. But every time I see him, he's talking about where we're having these financial woes. Because I know if I'd have borrowed 50 cents from that brother in the cafeteria, he'd have been in there that next Monday. Ricky, where my money at, man? I need him to bring that North High cafeteria. You owe me 50 cents from Friday, man. Where's my money? That's the mentality I want to see him take to the State Board of Regents and the state of Tennessee. Pay me my money.
So Ricky, who actually told the Tennessee State University that the state owes them $2 billion? Who told them that?
The state said. I'm pretty sure the state said it.
The state told their university that, hey, we owe you guys this much money, right? So because we owe you this much money, we're going to pay you back your $2 billion over a 10-year period, and let it be $200 million a year for 10 years. I mean, make some kind of concessions, but don't just leave it dangling. Well, we owe you $2.5 billion. You'll get it whenever we decide we want to give it to you. Well, so, I mean, the president can jump on the table and desk all he wants to, but until the legislature and the governor or the powers to be up there at the Capitol in Nashville make that decision that we're going to give them their money, then the money's going to stay making and check this out, continually making interest while it sits in their bank account while they keep saying we owe you this kind of money.
Right.
So,
and I mentioned my classmate, he's Dwayne Walker, Dwayne Tucker, and we always called him Chubby, Dwayne Chubby Tucker. Needs to bring that North High cafeteria there. But we got a guy coming in, and I cannot blame Eddie for taking off. That's a step up going from Tennessee State to Bowling Green, for sure. And my next question is, he's the second NFL guy to do that. Of course, Deion made the move to Colorado. Eddie's now in Bowling Green. The coaching candidates at our HBCUs, clearly they're not what they used to be in terms of, we had some legends back in the day. And Tim, I know you probably got thoughts on this with your time covering the SWAC.
Well, yeah, when I was doing the SWAC, there were giants there. Okay, it was Eddie Robinson, Marino Cassim at Alcorn, Jackson State had W.C. Gordon. They had this guys who were just at Southern. They had a long time football coach there. Half the league.
Marino Cassim?
No, well, Cassim was with Alcorn. Then he went down to Southern.
Okay.
Those guys, they get up there and do that retirement thing. They go retire from one state, go to another state, and pick up another pension. So, they're rolling in it in their old age, but still doing a good job with football. My thing is these guys now are opportunists. I don't think anybody's thinking about staying for a long time. I was really surprised when you said he was there for 4 years. It felt much shorter than 4 years. So if he wanted to bolt after 4 years, I'm fine with it. But if I see anybody that leaves after like 2 years for but this is a mid-major, right? Whereas Deion went to a major thing after 2 years at Jackson State.
Right.
So I don't begrudge him that. That was a major step, but all this makes sense for Eddie, and it's unfortunate that because of the financial situation at TSU, where he had to look out for himself and his family. You're not a begrudge a guy making those type of decisions. He didn't leave those kids in the lurch for a humbug. It was because he saw the handwriting on the wall. My thing is, I'm still thinking about it a couple of weeks ago where I saw his brother wearing a Tennessee State hockey jersey on the NHL playoff NHL game. It was Black History Month, and he was repping the Tennessee State hockey team. Why do they have a hockey team? If they have,
somebody wanted it.
Pardon me?
Somebody wanted it.
They probably did. They got the Predators there, and there's probably something for that was needed. There was interest, but nonetheless, when you can't support the athletic department, the sports that you have, it seems kind of crazy to expand. Mm-hmm. To me, it does. I know that I understand that Morehouse has. They have an equestrian team, a volleyball team, and a lacrosse team there. And they said, I questioned that. I was told they need 7 different sports to be able to go to a higher level, which supposedly is an objective. But you look at that and it's just these are really non-revenue sports. So what they're doing is they're just spending money, but nothing's coming back in.
Are they recruiting students in those sports?
Oh yeah, they are, and that's kind of those sports, they're fine if they're winning. You're winning with it. Like if you're like a Duke in lacrosse or I don't know who the equestrian star college programs would be, or volleyball like UCLA or USC or something like that. Yeah, that it makes sense, but it seems like it's a bit of a stretch when you have your resources are limited, and with the climate in higher education right now, well, those things will even be threatened. It seems like it's sort of a lark.
What Eddie used, I'll let you get in there, Earl. One of the reasons Eddie left, he said, was the uncertainty over what's going on in Tennessee State. They're talking about layoffs and cutbacks in the program. So I can't get mad at him either. Although he never understood what TSU was about to begin with. And although he did a good job there,
he did an okay job there.
Yeah, he was nothing special. I mean, he really was. Yeah, he was nothing special.
I mean, but
he was 6-5, not this year, but last year.
Yeah.
So why is nobody coming to our game? That's because you're 6-5, man. Ain't nobody happy with that at Tennessee State. So I don't know. And then he interviewed for Chicago Bears job tree. I think that was just some window dressing for the Bears. But hey, he's in Bowling Green now, and best of luck to him. You were gonna say something, Earl?
No, I was just gonna say, and like I asked you on the text message, is this gonna become a trend? Because it's interesting that the coaches who are truly from HBCUs got their degrees and got their experience as ball players. If they get coaching jobs at an HBCU, they don't normally jump and bolt out because they understand that they're not going to get some of those opportunities. Dion got a great opportunity, not begrudging him for the opportunity, but you left, the way you did it. Eddie George, you're getting opportunity, but the way you're doing it, I mean, and yeah, maybe you need the money. I don't know. Maybe you do, but to bolt this particular way and say, well, you're having financial issues. They were having financial issues when you got there. It wasn't that like it just started after you decided that, after 4 years, I'm ready to leave. But is this going to become a trend where these guys from the pros become college coaches who did not play at an HBCU? Because I think of a couple of guys that have played at the HBCUs. They don't really bolt. I mean, Eddie Robinson at Alabama State, he hasn't really bolted. So are these guys coming to get these jobs to get some experience so they can bolt after 4, maybe 5 years to leave our HBCUs in these kind of situations? Hey, Eddie, if you're going to leave it like perhaps Dion at least brought some things into the program so that they had some things that they didn't have before, but just for you to bolt. So, and what about the endowments at these colleges that they're going to? They've got major endowments. HBCUs don't have those kind of endowments, man. Football is a golden goose. It always will be. And if football is not making the money, then none of the sports programs in these HBCU athletic programs are making them. So hockey, equestrian, gymnastics, these non-revenue sports are all at the behest, I guess, of the fact that if football isn't generating the money, there's not a whole lot of money coming in.
And Tim, and to your point, this financial crisis has been going on, as you said, the last 4 years, but yet you're going to start a hockey program. Right. There's not a more expensive sport to play than hockey.
You got to buy, you have to have rinks, ice time, that's rental for that. You got hockey, you got equipment, you got sticks, which breaking all the time, even with fiberglass. You got pucks, you got all those things, padding. That's a very expensive sport. I think it's right up there with baseball. with all the stuff that you have to buy in football.
I was thinking too about with the equestrian, and I think we've talked about it before. You know, if you got horses, you got to board them somewhere. You got to feed them. You got to have a veterinarian to take care of them. So, yeah, I don't.
So that makes sense. Yeah, those type of things are expensive,
right?
You know, and probably the least expensive is basketball. You roll a ball out there in some shoes and some shorts and go get it, guys. You know, everything else is really, really intensive.
I'm surprised, Tim, that a lot of the HBCUs are not really trying to bring in more soccer programs. Soccer is not as expensive. And with the fact that now FIFA is talking about bringing the World Cup to America, it would have been ideal for some of these HBCU programs to have soccer programs because they're going to get international students to come to their programs to play soccer at their schools. Equestrian, hockey, I'm glad that Fist Gymnastics is doing what they're doing. They're having phenomenal success there. But, you know, when you talk to these athletic directors, what's driving your decision to bring in sports that cost you more than you can afford?
Right. Well, you mentioned that international players in soccer, and I was looking at something this week, and it's like a This Week in History type thing where Howard won the soccer Division I soccer championship a couple of decades ago, and they won it with a roster of mostly international players. You know, you would figure that would be the case, not back like in the 70s or 60s where the brothers look at, you know, kickball and don't think of it as a game. But I think Howard got disqualified for some reason for some sort of eligibility of the international players. Of course, they'll find a way to strip you of your one D1 championship. But soccer was a perfect thing, and especially I know here in Atlanta, you got 3 HBCUs that could have fielded teams, and 8 World Cup games are going to be here in Atlanta next year. One is going to be a semifinal for the World Cup. So this will be, and I think they just either they're building or they're just finishing building down in Peachtree City, which is a little bit south of Atlanta, the United States soccer headquarters. They transferred it and they built it. They've got an incredible complex that's coming out of the ground down there. So it would be really fertile ground for an HBCU to hook up with with those guys. And I'm quite sure that it's going to be soccer crazy here next year. That's the only way you're going to find a champion coming out of the city.
Why don't you tell them that over at Morehouse?
No, that's what I mean. It's like talk to somebody over there, but it's like, okay, we got soccer. What are we going to have next? That nobody archery, you know, some other sport. But I think soccer would be perfect for Morehouse. They have the new stadium. The stadium is not there. It's turf. Granted, those guys, the soccer players, prefer to play on grass, but they got a beautiful turf field out there that would support it. They have because they do lacrosse out there, lacrosse and football. So it's something to think about, Tree.
Make it happen. Like that, or like, you know,
I got that juice. Like that. Yes, I'm like Jeannie.
Use your magic.
But one more thing, and then we'll move on. With Tim was talking about the legendary coaches he covered. I mean, where are they now, Earl?
Well, that was an era, and I was just speaking to my son the other day, and Saturday I had a chance to speak to probably the last living legend of most successful HBCU coaches. He's number 2 on the all-time wins list for Black college coaches, and that's Coach Billy Joe.
Coach Joe.
And those guys, their era has kind of come and gone. There's some new guys who are on the horizon. Achenis Berry is on the horizon. The coach at North Carolina Central is on the horizon. You got some guys that are on the horizon, but it takes time. I mean, when you think about how long Jake Gaither, Eddie Robinson, John Merritt, Billy Joe, these guys coached, they had longevity. The landscape of the land right now is not so much like that. So I don't know if we're going to have those type of iconic legends anymore. It may be capsulized into maybe a 5 to 10 year window, but I don't think we're going to see those kind of coaches ever again.
And it seems, that seems to be the same in just in the workforce as well. People don't stay as long as they used to. So I think they're always trying to get to either either dissatisfaction or they're trying to get to the next level. So I could see your point for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's another note we need to touch on regarding HBCU football is Amazon is jumping into the fray, and they are going to be the sponsor of the Magic City Classic next year, which of course is the game between longtime rivals Alabama A&M and Alabama State University. They'll be taking over for McDonald's, and they signed a 4-year agreement. So, I mean, that's some big time corporate sponsorship.
That's huge.
And we're going to need more of those in order to sustain our programs, man, because again, when like for instance, basketball, the CIAA does a fantastic job at basketball. The MEAC, not so much. The SWAC, they do okay, but other than football, man, our colleges, and our fan bases, don't really apply that same energy and attendance at basketball games that they do at football games. Why that is, I have yet to really, really, really understand why that is, because, we like basketball, but we don't want to watch our schools play basketball games at our places. And, once upon a time when we didn't have all this technology, man, whatever night we had a basketball game on campus, everybody on campus is at the game, because after the game, everybody trying to do something together. But it was just a way to support our classmates, our teammates, the students on campus. But it was just a happening. So that's all we had to do. But you don't have that so much now. But why don't we support basketball? Because everybody keeps thinking football is the answer, and football is not the answer. We need to put more time and energy into basketball and try to get into these at least beyond just the first round of the March Madness, man, because the money is there, but we can't get any further than the first round.
Yeah. And, Amazon really is kind of rescuing this game. I mean, it's been going on for 80 years. But the last couple of years, there's been some financial issues regarding what the schools are getting. But in this deal, Alabama A&M is going to get $1 million when it's the home team and $300,000 when it's the visitor. Alabama State is going to get $1.5 million when it's the home team. And it doesn't say how much they get when they're the visitors. But it will add $500,000 to each of the institution annually. So,
I wonder how long that deal has been in the works, because they're talking about Amazon, boycotts and them canceling DEI.
It's a great question.
So I'm wondering, is that we're just going to jump in here, or has it been in the works for a while and that they've got to keep going with it? I'm just curious about that.
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
And I thought of that, and I said, nah, they wouldn't be that sinister to get up there and to do that. And I really don't think Bezos cares. But I think
you don't think they're that sinister? I think. Never mind. Go on.
But in Birmingham,
I'll say it, Tree. Yes, they are.
Thank you, sir.
Birmingham is looking for a HBCU foothold. The mayor of Birmingham is a Morehouse guy, and they brought the Morehouse Tuskegee game there for 3 years, and it didn't draw flies. So it's moved back to Columbus, Georgia. But now that they have this in there, with I think this is going to really boost the Classic with probably the Amazon marketing behind it. And it's a brand that the people, the city of Birmingham will embrace as well.
Do they have a hub there?
Pardon me?
Do they have a hub? Amazon have a hub in that?
Probably.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. So, I mean, it's a natural fit for them to get behind something like that.
Natural or okay, never mind.
So natural.
Let me stop. I'm just got some questions. I'm just, I'm not.
You just asking.
I'm not just asked. I'm just asking, as the people say.
Just
I'm
ask.
not very trusting these days, but go on. Yes.
Absolutely.
And give us an update. How did the BIP Awards come out this year? And you got to get a plug in for Quarterfive Back.
Hey man, Quarterfive Back is growing and we're doing some more things. We've got our TV podcast. We're getting ready to relaunch our radio podcast. We launched our newsletter, the Post Route newsletter, working on a possibility of doing some filming of some things. But this past year, in the voting for the BIP Memorial Trophy for high schools, it came down to one vote. The young man that won it came down to him winning by one vote. This young man threw for 6,000 yards in one season in high school. He is now a freshman at West Carolina. His name is Jordan Durham. And the winner from the HBCUs, Tim, is a guy from that Atlanta area by the name of David Wright III from Clark, Atlanta.
Okay.
So he's been on the radar for the last couple of years over at Allen, and he switched, came to Clark, Atlanta. So those are our two winners for the BIP Memorial Trophy this year, and we'll be making their presentations sometime this month. But we're excited about it. We're already looking at 2025, and our weekly show, man. We are a month ago. We only were up to about this time of the month for guests. We are now halfway through June with lining up guests. So we are getting it done, and we're excited about all the people we're bringing onto the show. A lot of young people. We were fortunate this year so far. We've had 3 middle school quarterbacks to be on our show.
That's nice.
Hey, Earl.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look at the draft prospects that we have coming out of HBCU? Do we have any?
From a quarterback perspective, quite honestly, I don't believe so. These guys are trying to get to the combines and make a showing for themselves, but we don't really have that headliner that will probably draw the attention of the NFL guys. So fortunately, there's a lot of football being played around this world in these European, Japanese, Mexican leagues, indoor and arena football leagues where guys can have opportunities. So if not the NFL, there are other places that they can find. And we've had a couple of guys who've been on. One guy played in Mexico this past year. One guy played in Europe. We got another guy who's going to be playing in Norway for the Norway Vikings coming on the show. So there are other opportunities. I hope they just don't get hung up on thinking if I don't make it in the NFL, that's pretty much it, because there are opportunities. They got to just seek them out. But I don't think they've got any HBCU guy that's going to be blowing it up. Draylon Ellis of Tennessee State might be a guy, but beyond that, I don't know many guys that we can actually pinpoint this year saying that's going to be on that radar for the NFL.
You know, they had the HBCU Legacy Bowl tryouts down in New Orleans, and Drayton Ellis from TSU was there. Richardson from FAMU. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some one or two offensive linemen that get drafted.
Yeah.
But I think that's a day gone by too, where you would have just truckloads of guys coming out of HBCUs.
All those guys are in the mid-majors right now. I mean, there were no mid-majors. Either you were playing major college football or you were playing in the HBCU.
Correct.
And I contended to it several years ago, and I had interviewed Michael Strahan, and I said I think he and Aeneas Williams are going to be the last Hall of Famers to come out of an HBCU, because they don't have that talent, that caliber of talent, kid, unless you're going to try to project 20 years down the road with Travis Hunter, because he started at Jackson State. So Jackson
they're not going to hang that. They're not going to hang that Jackson State banner on his name.
Jackson State can claim him because he was there for 2 years.
Yeah.
So he'll be the last somebody that you'll think about, because he claims Jackson State.
Yeah,
He does.
yeah, he does claim it.
So he talks about it when his Heisman is like he got his start at Jackson State. So he's not going to dismiss that at all. And that's really something you look at now when these kids are coming out. the draft's next month, and these where it used to be you just put Joe Smith from Alabama, but now you got to put Joe Smith from Alabama / Oklahoma because these kids they get in the portal and they go somewhere else. So so
you got to recruit them, then you got to recruit them to again. You got to recruit them every year.
Yeah,
every year.
You got. And
Bill Belichick just made a comment saying that college football, the portal, is like free agency in the NFL. He's comparing the portal to the free agency and saying how that turnover and sending guys in and out and rotating them around. So I'm like, well, he would know, but to make that analogy, that's saying a lot because he now has to deal with this portal situation at North Carolina. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of talent he gets at North Carolina because they've had talent, but not that high level caliber talent that you've seen in the ACC. So it'll be interesting to see who wants to play there.
But you're going to see
a draw.
What's that?
And so he might be a draw because of his connections. And I think if you want to be coached by an NFL coach.
Well, you're right. I think he's got a front office too. He's got former NFL people in his administration running it like a pro program. I'm thinking
there you go.
Oliver Luck is like the general manager for Stanford's football team. I understand Steph Curry is like a part-time type person for I think it's Davidson.
Davidson.
Yeah.
And Master P is the GM for the University of New Orleans basketball team.
Oh, I missed that. When did that happen? Maybe I can get a chance.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Apply.
Say what, Earl?
Apply.
Absolutely. Hey, we got the quarterback guru on here tonight. Let's jump to the NFL, where the black quarterback has just been dominant in recent years, but ain't nobody getting paid like this dude we just saw here. Josh Allen signed a $330 million deal to quarterback the Buffalo Bills.
In my next life, I'm coming back as a football player.
Yeah.
A good one.
It's an extension, but this cat's like he's set for life because it's like I don't know how many $100 million is guaranteed. Just like this other catch you're going to probably bring up a little bit later with the Browns, who said he wanted to go to a winner. He said, I'm not coming back. I want to go to a winner. And then somebody said, okay, we got $160 million on the table for you.
So, I'll stick around. I can stick around for that.
Because 123.5 of that is guaranteed. So that means right now you stick that in the bank. That right there is his money. The rest of that stuff is play.
So is this getting ready to be one of those things where, we can't have the black quarterbacks making the most amount of money in the league? We always got to go one better because his resume is good, but like they say, he doesn't have any championships.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same what they said about Lamar Jackson when he had, for a taste, the largest quarterback contract, which was last year. Everybody's going to keep going up. Nobody's going to, get an extension and go for less unless they really stink. But these good guys, they're going to keep going up. And these quarterbacks are valuable even if they aren't that good.
Right.
This I think free agency starts tomorrow in the NFL. But we've got so many quarterbacks that have already moved. You got Daniel Jones from the Giants, who was supposed to be so great, just signed a deal to be a backup in Indy to the quarterback there. You got Geno Smith being reunited with his coach from Seattle. He's going to Vegas to be with Pete Carroll. You got Sam Darnold, who was great all season for Minnesota, but looked like total crap in the playoffs. Seattle needed a quarterback, so they just re-signed him. And to go up there, you got Justin Fields leaving Pittsburgh, going to the Jets, and they don't have a quarterback for now because Russell Wilson was released. So Pittsburgh, they just got a really good receiver now. I think it's Duckett, but they don't have anybody to throw the ball to him. Pittsburgh didn't have.
They got TK
Metcalf.
Okay,
but they're going to have 3 black quarterbacks at the Jets.
That's true. That's true.
You will have 3 black. You have
I'm trying to think of the guy that just left, who was a backup last year, coming from the high school ranks.
Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor, and Jordan Travis.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor, yeah. So they're going to be the quarterbacks. And because they got a new head coach, I think nobody knows the playbook, so everybody has to prove themselves going into the season for the Jets. So that's going to be interesting. I was a little disappointed when I first saw it, but it's like, okay, well, it's a fresh start for everybody. Everybody's got to come in here and prove themselves. I was a little disappointed that Pittsburgh didn't fight a little harder. Y'all brought him in, and then y'all let him kind of get away from you. But
you talking about Justin Fields?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I think something's there with that guy. I mean, clearly he's a tremendous athlete.
And you got two black quarterbacks down in Arizona now because Jacoby Brissett has left New England, and he's going to back up Kyler Murray down there in Arizona. So it's like you send a lot more brothers on these quarterback staffs, and it's a league of mobile people. And you look at Josh Allen being paid what he's paid. He's a mobile guy, and he's a great all-around athlete. I just love watching him play, and I think he deserves every dime that he gets, especially playing those late season games in Buffalo where he's still awesome. So hats off to him.
So that tells me there's money out there.
There is money for
if they want to pay it.
Yeah,
there's a ton of money out there. So I'm just happy that in this day and time, black quarterbacks are getting their fair share of this money, because I always think back to when Doug Williams got to Tampa Bay, helped them become winners, and when he asked for more money, they told Doug no.
Yeah, well, that was a Culver House. The first owner of the Bucks. Culver House was a very tight person, from what I understand.
He went to the W.
He went to the USFL.
Yeah.
USFL.
He went to the USFL before he ended up with Washington. I mean, he wasn't in the USFL that long because it wasn't around that long.
Right.
So, but the fact that, hey, man, he was only asking to be paid what the starting quarterbacks were being paid at that time, and they said no. Right. This guy made you a winner after y'all coming off of 0-26, and y'all say no.
Right,
Earl, for you personally being a historian, having a book that you've written about the history and evolution of the black quarterback, when you see what we're seeing now, how does that, on a personal level, I'm sure there's a sense of pride that you saw, and could this have come a long time ago?
I don't think it could have come a long time ago. I think, it had to evolve. And because a couple of things were going to always stand in the way of black quarterbacks getting their opportunities. First and foremost, of course, we know their skin color was going to be a problem. Then you had the Wonderlic test, the aptitude test, which they would give these guys to take, and they would publish the results of the black quarterbacks not passing the Wonderlic, but they would never pass the results of the white quarterbacks. And then the league just wasn't ready. I mean, before Doug Williams, I always go back to the fact that Eldridge Dickey should have been the first black quarterback of note that we saw get an opportunity before Jefferson Street Joe, before James Harris, but he didn't get a fair shake. And, they always want to transition our quarterbacks into other positions. I just read something recently where Ken Stabler, Darryl LaMonica, George Blanda, and another guy, and Eldridge Dickey were in camp. And because he ran a 9.800, they said, well, Eldridge, we're going to make you a receiver.
And they actually drafted Dickey ahead of Stabler.
Yeah, as a quarterback. As a quarterback. And he played quarterback in the preseason. But, well, Eldridge, we appreciate you, man, but we're going to move you over to this spot right here. You're a pretty fast guy. You got great hands, so we're going to put you over here. So nowadays, you're not going to see guys doing that because these guys are locked in. I'm a quarterback, and that's all I am. If you want me to play something else, then I'm not doing it. I mean,
Lamar Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
It's like, I'm a quarterback, man.
Yeah, I'm a quarterback. I mean, period. So I don't think we would have seen it any sooner. I just wish that they had been given proper opportunities, but, they didn't. quarterbacks who came out of HBCUs, they were always dual threat guys. That's all we've known them to be. They were always dual threat. Eldridge was dual threat. Ken Riley was dual threat. I think the first time we really just saw a guy who could stand in the pocket was Jefferson Street Joe Gillen, because he just stood there and threw the ball. But our black quarterbacks at the HBCUs have always been dual threats. I mean, that's just the way we came up in our neighborhoods playing football, man. If you're the quarterback in the park or sandlot, you got to run and throw. That's just what we knew. So, but I'm glad that they're getting an opportunity. I'm glad they're making the money they're making.
That's a great point, because those sandlot pickup football games were the absolute best.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that experience. But
You didn't go to any of the sandlot games in the neighborhood?
no, I'm the youngest of 5 girls. That was
Y'all
not a
could have
lot of
been the
kids.
cheerleaders.
Y'all could have been the cheerleaders.
Not a lot of kids in the neighborhood. Yeah.
And that would happen. You get you over there playing, and you have some of the young ladies that come over there and practice their cheers.
I didn't have that experience either. I missed out on a lot.
I got some trivia for you.
What's that? Go ahead.
I got some trivia for you, Ricky. So,
Okay.
The only black quarterback in the NFL Hall of Fame, who is that?
From back in the day.
Tony Dungy,
No, sir.
No.
quarterback. He's in Minnesota.
In the NFL Hall of Fame, there's only one black quarterback in the NFL Hall of Fame.
When it first started, I think he played in Chicago.
No, sir.
Give a hint.
I got
You wore number 1.
Warren Moon?
Warren
Thank
Moon?
you. That's it.
Oh.
The
I thought
only
you said
one.
HBCU. I was thinking the wrong thing. But yeah,
Warren
Warren Moon.
Moon, who had to go to Canada.
You had to go to
I mean,
Canada
that's
to be outstanding.
Right.
I mean,
so in researching recently, I found the only black quarterback in the Arena Football League Hall of Fame. And his name is Shedrick Bonner from Cal State Northridge. 15 years in the Arena League, 42,000 yards. He's the only brother in the Arena League Football Hall of Fame.
that's interesting because I didn't even know the Arena League was still playing. So it's like they even had a Hall of Fame.
They got one.
They've been around, man.
The more you know.
But
Yeah.
I tell you, this hour has just flown by. We only got a couple more minutes. What do we want to touch on before we get out of here, guys?
I want to know what you guys thought about Stephen A's contract.
I'm gonna call that brother up and see if he'll loan me a quarter or something.
I think it's excessive, really. I mean, these opinion shows, I can't even stand to watch them. The shouting. I will look at the chyrons and they'll say something like, is Shane Gilgeous-Alexander the best point guard ever?
Yeah.
Just for the sake of art to start an argument, or is somebody the best ever, or is this team the best ever, or does this guy make the best sandwich? They always have these same chyrons up there, for the sake of argument. If somebody doesn't win a championship, is he a Hall of Famer? I mean, come on, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's
to get outraged over this.
Yeah,
it's like
debates.
But that's his brand, right? But in any event, he also had a little conversation, I'll call it that, with LeBron.
Yeah.
On the sidelines.
Yep.
Get my son's name out your mouth.
Yeah.
It's Will Smith.
You really?
Will Smith them. Yes.
There was a AI generated thing from Everybody Hates Chris, where LeBron was Terry Crews and Chris Stephen A was the bully, but he was talking to LeBron's kid, who was Chris from Everybody Hates Chris. It was hilarious because it looked just like them. It was so perfectly done, where LeBron was threatening the life of Stephen A.
Well, can I admit something? I am actually AI generated tonight.
You did a perfect job.
Yeah, I'm gonna not comment on that.
Hey, I want to throw this out there. Now you talk about going back in the day now.
Uniforms for the iconic set that first debuted.
Look at that.
The Baltimore Orioles, orange on orange. I just want to know, is it double knit And does he have on some platform here?
Yeah.
So you're not a fan? Not a fan?
I'm not.
That's
I
a little
like
much for me.
I like it. It's all about the sherbet. It's like when the push-up pops.
Orange. I believe they call it bright orange, right?
Orange. It is bright orange.
Orange.
I think that's sweet. I love that uniform. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
that.
a little bit too much orange for me.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
Well, you can't miss them on the
Oh,
field.
the brother on the right is all orange.
And this kid said he's been waiting to play in that
He was
uniform.
Loving it. Loving that stuff.
Hey, we need to get out of here, Earl.
Yes.
Quarterback back. How can people follow you guys?
All they got to do is go to quarter5back.com and you'll find all the information. We're starting to do our merchandise now. So this is one of our logo
I'm
shirts.
getting me one of them, brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we got this. We got a warm-up coming out. So we're doing some things, man. Got some golf balls too, Rick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do they go straight? Are they guaranteed to go straight?
If you hit them straight, they'll go straight.
Is there a discount for you get what you get, people?
I'll take care of you guys. You put in the order, I'll take care of you guys personally.
All right, I like the shirt. I like it.
Thank you.
Hey, one more thing about this TSU thing before we go. Think about this. I meant to bring it up earlier. Eddie George, spring practice starts next week.
Right. I was thinking about spring practice or either recruiting. I'm like, ouch. And you see the trend now. Nobody's what is these spring games. They're paring them down.
Yep.
Because it seems like these kids see they didn't get enough reps in the spring game. That's when they start talking about I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. Always recruiting. Recruiting. Yeah. Hey, well, we got to get out of here. For our great friend Earl Kitchen. Earl, always a pleasure having you on.
My pleasure.
Tim Turner, Chief McDougal. I'm Rick Hampton.
All right, be kind, everybody.